Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brief video from my abode, from my living room. Hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is keeping gesund, as the Germans would say. I'm doing okay, thank you very much. I've had a bit of those who know me and know my story a little bit of recent weeks and months, a bit of a rough ride, health-wise myself, but I feel like I'm getting through it, albeit pacing myself and taking my time around things. The eagerness to get better and get on with stuff is always there, and so it's important to sort of keep a check on that at times. Certainly, I can only speak for myself, but certainly I do. So here I am doing a brief video just to bring you one or two little things, a couple of thoughts that are on my mind, and just to say hello really and show my face. It's a pleasant change from being either stuck in hospital or disappearing for a couple of months in a sort of a convalescent situation, which is what I ended up doing recently. I spent a couple of months around my parents' house. Thankfully they were there, otherwise I would have been very, very stuck. And without turning this into a bit of a conspiracy theory sort of video, because believe it or not, that's not really my style or the way I approach things, although I do like to question stuff. It has been an unusually challenging time in terms of health, something that came upon me from absolutely nowhere, and something that I've never had to deal with before in my life previously. Whatever the reasons may be for that, I do not know is the truth. But I do know that I'm not the only one. I do know of a number of people who have struggled suddenly and very intensely around health issues, and issues that were kind of unfamiliar to them. Everybody has things going on with them, be it allergies or whatever, it could be anything. But when suddenly something comes in from left field that you've never had before or you've never experienced before, it becomes challenging in many ways, including psychologically. Half the battle being what the hell is going on here kind of thing. And I'm sure those in a similar situation who live alone will know that battle is real and it's difficult. When you get home, you close the door behind you and you're on your own, left to your own devices, with your own thoughts. That is something that doesn't get discussed enough, in my opinion. And I think it's a topic that is well worth revisiting in the future. It's certainly something I will be addressing when I move forward doing podcasts, which is what I'm planning on doing soon. Is getting my channel up and running properly and having guests on and talking about real issues and topics that really do affect you in this moment in time, because that is the only moment we really have. The stuff that's gone is gone, and the stuff that's coming we don't know. So to put it in layman's terms, and I think once you've been affected yourself, it's much easier to then address such topics and talk about them. The empathy levels are there and the understanding and all the rest of it. But anyway, I'm here and I feel okay. I have my ups and downs like everybody else, but certainly the last few months were an absolute eye-opener for me, and have kind of woken me to a few things in terms of how to crack on with life and what's important, what's not, prioritizing and all that sort of stuff, which we kind of should be doing anyway, although I hate the word should. But we kind of also don't, because we're too busy dealing with the cards that we've been dealt, on an everyday life sort of scale. Anyway, so much for that, but that's what I'm definitely going to do moving forward. I do plan on doing some podcasts, having guests on, although I have my opinion on one or two topics, and those who know me will know that, including the shape of the earth we live on, or the fact that we've been lied about it, better said really, because do I know where we are? No, I don't. None of us do. That's the honest truth. But I can categorically, and this is where I think we're living in very exciting times, by the way, categorically state that the realm in which we do live is most certainly not a spinning water ball hurtling through an impossible violation of natural law environment called space. The reasons for that are quite simple, although people have a tendency to either dance around this topic or overcomplicate it unnecessarily, in my opinion. The killer blow and the fact of the matter is Earth has always and is and will always be measured flat, always and forever. It's the only way it works. You measure Earth using elevation angle measurements to Polaris to enable then to navigate your position on the ground being the bit you're navigating, the ground being the bit, your baseline that you need to carry out those readings, those measurements, to be able to then suss where you are. And that would be an angle which requires straight lines and not curved lines. Very simple, really. And if you speak to any navigation person or speak to anybody who knows a little bit about map reading or anything like that, they'll all tell you the same. You're looking at a flat Earth when you are reading grid reference maps and such like. So, and things like a sextant, for example, that you use on boats, in airplanes and whatnot, to measure angles, elevation angle measurements, only function with a flat horizon, the horizon being a prerequisite for that device to even work. It's not a flat Earth theory, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's not me being pedantic, it's the way it is, it's the way it's done, and basta. That's it. So the problem, of course, is when you address this topic, people have an issue then with comprehending it and living with that fact, because they're facts. You know, the same as measuring the height of things. Measuring the height of a mountain, you can only do it by using the flat surface that it's on, you know, etc., etc. So it's, like I said, not a conspiracy theory. It is how we measure Earth. It's the way it's always been done. It's the only way it works, and that's that. How people then come to terms with that information is, to be honest with you, their issue and their problem, certainly not mine. I'm quite happy to know what I know, not think, not theorize, not believe. Knowledge is power. Belief is the enemy of that. And that's the trouble. Too many people are in a belief state of mind, and that could be all sorts of things, from idol worship to, oh, let me guess, idol worship, religions and such like. But that's another story. Let's not go off on tangents. And speaking of the flatness of Earth, or the fact that we measure it flat because we have to, there is a Flat Earth social coming up next Tuesday, the 28th of May. I'm just going to have a quick look because it's a different address to the last time I announced this. That's how long I've been out of action, a few months now. It is in the Bridge House Hotel in Ferndown, which is a lovely place just on the fringes of Bournemouth. So be there or be exceedingly spherical. I shall be there next Tuesday. I will muster up the energy and the courage to mingle with people. I mean, even things like that, you know, I was out of action just mixing with people and wanting to have people's company because you're too busy trying to sort your problem or whatever it is out, and it's not a nice place to be. But I'm going to definitely be there next Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to that. It's the 28th. It's always the last Tuesday of every month. So in Ferndown, I'm just looking at my 20,000-year-old iPad at the Bridge House Hotel in Ferndown. It's one of those iPads you have to crank up, you know, like the old double-decker planes of pre-World War One. And then within 30 years, they had jets. Quite amazing, really. But that's another story. Apart from that, I didn't really want to bring you too much else, apart from showing my face. There are one or two things going on that, if you pay a little bit of attention to the news, in inverted commas, news, the media garbage that are going on, that are hitting the headlines, as it were, that are occupying people's minds, including a story that goes back decades regarding contaminated blood, amongst other things, and also issues with water supply in the United Kingdom, which will be given, of course, as an excuse to hike prices into oblivion and put yet more pressure on people already struggling like mad to get by. That has really picked up in the last few years since you know what. And we shan't go there either. But yes, so the contaminated blood issue is one thing that is happening at the moment. And there's the, like I say, the water supply issue in the UK, which makes me laugh in a very cynical way, because the UK, I don't know if you know, is an island, and islands are surrounded by water that always find and maintain their level, by the way. And yet the UK always has problems with water supply. Even in the summertime, if it's too hot, you're told to not wash your cars because water is in short supply. You can't make this stuff up. And the funny thing about it is people go with it. That's the dreadful thing. That's the battle. When you're watching on and seeing the masses actually swallow that stuff, it's absolutely nuts. But there you go. So the UK and Ireland has water issues, and of course we have contaminated blood, and people now coming forward and talking about it, and it's dominating the news. On top of all of that, we have, of course, the circus back in town announcing a thing called a general election, or a general selection, as I'd like to call it, which is earmarked for the 4th of July. So who knows, maybe Tom Cruise will come out with another film. But that is also quite interesting, how they pick the moments to fill the airwaves with certain stories. Another topic I will be addressing when I get up and running with my podcasts, etc., is how to identify that sort of stuff, because, you know, it's all done by design. It's all very tactical. It's all very cynical, because it works. You know, you need to know your audience. You need to know who you're preaching to and who you're feeding with information before you start feeding them with information. And that's how that works. But anyway, it's an interesting, fascinating topic, something that I'm going to be delving into as well. But again, it's part of the general mind control that takes part on a daily basis. But there we go. I'm sure those of you watching and listening in now or later know that already, but that's really more for the benefit of those who aren't aware, or might need to have a little bit of an elbow in the ribs, metaphorically speaking, of course, although some I'd like to do proper. And remind them, you know, that you need to take a lot of stuff with a pinch of salt. And well, I won't get all philosophical, but prioritise your life a little bit and not pay too much attention to the noise around you, and observe and use discernment more. And, you know, concentrate and focus on your own thoughts and use your own brain. That's what it's there for at the end of the day. But again, I'm sure you all know that already. So apart from that, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to discuss. Not really, just really to announce the Flat Earth Social. I'm very much looking forward to going to that. My friend Dave Manuel, also known as Trinity 4, I believe is doing a talk. So I'm going to definitely go there and support him. Him and I have known each other for a few years. Just as a brief background story, I got to know him by partaking on what we call the Euro Tour, the Global Eye Tour, back in 2019, where a camper van was arranged and did a journey around Europe, which took over 3 months. I wasn't on there for 3 months. I was on there altogether for a few weeks. But that's where I met him, and I shared some very interesting moments with him. Learned a lot, still do. Like his company, he's a very good fella. Been around the block and all the rest of it, and that would be well worth listening in to hear what he has to say. But yeah, had some good times on that Euro Tour. Learned a lot about where people are at with their information, how they get their information, and how skewed the information that they have, that they think they know, really is. It's quite astounding. But that was a fascinating experience, and if you've ever got the time, check out on my channel. I do have some vlogs of a few minutes at a time, and also some longer videos of us doing some street activism in various different parts of Europe. That was a fascinating experience, and I would do it again at the drop of a hat if I got the opportunity. That's for sure. Well worth doing. But anyway, yeah, so that would be Dave Manuel. He'll be doing a talk next Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to that. And of course, as the months progress, we'll have various people gracing us with their presence. So that will be a lot of fun. And apart from that, I do believe there's also a festival coming up as well. I don't have the details on me right now, but if you have a little look around the internet and maybe have a look at Martin Leaker's channel, or go onto the Flat Earth Social site or Dave Mannels or whatever, then you'll come across some dates for that. I do believe there are day tickets and stuff like that. If you want to go there and listen to people like Matt Letizia, ex-professional footballer, give a talk about their standpoint on certain things. So it's a bit of an awake kind of festival, if you like. It's not a flat earth thing. It's not a this or that thing. But it's certainly a good place to get to know like-minded or people on a similar level or people who have questions. Because let's face it, if you don't have questions, then you're in trouble in a big, big way. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious, really, that things aren't right. And can we change the world? No, not necessarily. But what we can do is gain an awareness around what's going on and enable then a little bit of equilibrium and calm up here. I can only talk for myself, but that is certainly why it's important for me. I learned very, very quickly that you can't change the world. But I also learned that I know nothing very, very quickly. I think that's also important. But anyway, before I waffle on, I'll just say, great to be back. Look out for some more videos. I'm going to be going out soon and taking a little look more at some old world buildings in my area. That's a topic that's close to my heart because I think it gives away a lot of stuff in terms of where we're at and what's going on, who's in charge and why, and how that works. That is very much something whereby the clues can be found amongst the old world buildings. Very fascinating stuff. Puts a lot of things into question, including religion and such like. Not just Christianity, all of them. But anyway, on that bombshell, I bid you all farewell. Thank you for looking in. I will see you soon. Larry says hi, by the way. He's just there checking out the lighthouse and wondering how that would work on a ball. Of course, the answer is it wouldn't. And I have my pondering ape on the right there who keeps his eyes glued on that globe, particularly Antarctica. What are you going to do? So on that note, I bid you all farewell. As I've already just said, I'll see you all soon. Some of you, of course, much, much sooner, hopefully next Tuesday. And if not, in between days, I'm definitely reachable. Okay, until then, take it easy and bye for now.